talk about something else. You're all talking about the price of energy. We all say here at TalkTV, surely they can bring the price of energy down. One of the ways they could do that is by opening up the fracking wells. And here's Lois Perry, who is from, of course, CAR26, I should say. Not COP26.
Good morning.
Very good morning to you. Thanks for coming in.
No,
You've got some news for us on the fracking front.
Well, I have, actually.
Yeah.
So the government commissioned a report from the British Geological Survey, the BGS, back in April on fracking. It was around the time that everyone was saying we need to be fracking, we need to be energy independent with everything that's going on. There was more intensity about it.
Yeah.
So they were going to concrete over the wells, you remember, and then they stopped.
And then they sort of put it into abeyance for a while, didn't they?
That's right. But then they commissioned this survey. Now, the survey has actually gone in. It went into ministers and to the civil service last week. It landed on their desks, actually, on the day that there was the night of the long knives for Boris Johnson.
This is the problem, isn't it, now? Because you've got a government kind of, you know, with the wheels spinning around, and nobody's really, even though Boris is technically in charge. I mean, he said on Prime Minister's Questions yesterday, I might not be here next week. And it's like, well, you can't just walk off the job, can you, if you're the Prime Minister?
Well, no, you're not. Well, you're certainly not supposed to. No. But what would happen? It'd be Dominic Raab would take over in that instance.
Nobody really knows. I mean, his suggestion was that there might be an agreement to make somebody the next Prime Minister rather than...
like a coronation?
So, kind of,
well,
yeah.
That would be
which is what they used to do. I mean, his idea was that, you know, it might be that rather than going into a final two kind of election situation, that maybe they'd get to the final two and one of them would just give up.
Would drop out or get off as Chancellor.
Yeah, so I don't know. But anyway, so it must be frustrating because you don't know who to talk to.
Well, it's very frustrating, and as I say, the report landed on their desks on the day that Rishi Sunak and all the backstabbing started, and then Boris was gone the next day. Having said that, basically, I've heard, well, I know from some extremely well-placed sources that the BGS report is, if not necessarily saying do it, it's saying they have no problem with it, and that it is a broadly positive report, and that is absolutely enormous, Mike. Yes. It really, really
because presumably they could have said that there are reasons geologically why this can't be done, because it might be unsafe, or it could cause difficulty with the local environment. I mean, some people have said the reason that it's more difficult in this country than it, say, would be in America is because this country is a much more heavily populated place.
Yeah, but in America, actually, they have a huge amount of fracking wells, gas extraction sites that are near some very busy areas. So that's another thing that was sort of pushed out. You know, around all that time, there was all the heavily funded misinformation anti-fracking campaign, well, about 10 years ago. Right. So, yeah, but I mean, look, there are considerations, of course there are, but the fact that the BGS, it is not a negative report, and one of the reasons that we also know that it wasn't negative, apart from the fact that we know it wasn't negative, is that the government would have said immediately, this is a negative report, because actually that was their official position at the time. But Kwasi Kwarteng, a few days ago, said that he's going to be doing a summary of the report shortly. Now, he's supporting Liz Truss, so I'm wondering if it's going to be tied into something to do with energy security and her leadership campaign, because that would be very positive for her. She is very pro-fracking, apparently. Is she?
Because one of the things I was going to ask you is, who, when you look at the candidates for Prime Minister, who do you know to be... Because we're trying... I mean, it's very difficult to find any of them who will go against the net zero stuff. I mean, a couple of them have said things, but not many.
Kemi has come out and said that. I mean, she's been extremely strong on lots of issues, and that's why she's garnered so much support. But I think
I'm told that Liz Truss may have said something at Hustings' event last night, which would suggest that she might be willing to at least take a look at slowing it down or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. She said we need to get rid of all the green levies, which is extra. I mean, imagine what a big difference that would make if she managed, if she did that, you know, because that would immediately take off the percentage that's on our taxes at the moment,
which is about 20%.
On our costs.
Yeah, it's about 20% on every electricity bill, effectively.
Yeah, and then there's the VAT.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, there's lots of scope for, you know, for reductions to be made.
But again, this is all something that we've been calling for here on this show, and certainly other people on TalkTV have been calling for it for months and months and months, and nobody in the Boris Johnson government did it. So, you know, the idea that Sunak would do it if he became the Prime Minister, I don't think he would. Boris Johnson didn't do it.
I don't know about Penny Mordaunt, whether she would do it or not, because she seems to be saying stuff that on the surface of it now, is all sort of anti-woke and sort of anti-green. But actually, if you look at the things that she's said previously to now, it's super duper 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 woke, isn't it? And
well, I don't know if it's that bad. I mean, the thing is, I don't mind people having different opinions now from the ones that they used to have. I don't have a problem with that. Right. And I think you can only judge them on what they say now.
No, absolutely. But I think, from our perspective, we like Liz Truss.
Yeah.
We do like Liz Truss.
She's a bit boring, though. I mean, this morning, she really... we were all falling asleep here.
Yeah, but haven't we had enough exciting leaders?
The only good news about the Liz Truss speech was it wasn't very long. You know.
Oh, Mike, that's not very nice,
you're not doing it for me.
No.
But, you know...
But she might get more exciting.
She might, but it doesn't...
But if she cuts taxes and, you know, she's a free marketeer and she gets rid of all the green nonsense and stuff, then maybe you don't have to be tantalisingly exciting.
No, maybe not. But Howard Cox seems to be backing Penny Mordaunt. I think he's quite keen on getting her into power, because I think the point about all of these people is that we have to continue to put pressure on them to make them do what it is that the people who voted them in want them to do. You know, like people do want to cut back on taxes. They want to have cheaper energy. They want to have give fracking a chance at the very least. Yeah. So what happens next, as far as you know?
Give fracking a chance. I like that. That could be a slogan, a T-shirt. I could have one made.
Give fracking a chance.
Give fracking a chance.
So what happens now?
Well, what happens now is Kwasi Kwarteng will do his speech in Parliament next week with the summary. He said shortly, and then hopefully we can get going. But you know, all of this disruption at the moment is not good. It's not good for you, me. It's not good for the British public who are, you know, it's not cold at the moment, but wait till it is. I mean, and
well, you say that, but I mean, people are probably using fans. Some people have got air conditioning units.
Absolutely, yeah. But interestingly enough, Nord Stream 1, they thought it was going to be back online, and it's actually the Russians are saying, "Oh, it needs to have continued maintenance. We can't fix it," which is nonsense, obviously. And Germany is in a complete panic. And I read a story yesterday from a very credible German newspaper that said that the government are looking into the distribution of wood to people's homes, and that's now in the summer. Right. I mean, that's fine if you've got a log burner and you've got an Argo. What are you doing if you're on the 3rd floor flat of a tower block that was built 10 years ago? Where are you going to burn the wood?
You're not going to burn the wood, are you?
No, I mean, this is Germany. This is a civilised, modern place. It's not, you know...
they're also talking about having blackouts, I think, aren't they?
What's going on?
To conserve the energy. Well, because the problem is they have to stop their reliance on Russian gas. But at the moment, they don't have enough energy of their own.
And whose fault's that?
It's their fault.
Yeah, exactly.
And the EU. As well.
Well, this is one of the brilliant things about not being in the EU. We can actually do things independently, but it doesn't seem like we have been. It's sort of been like we're in the EU, but we're not, you know, we're out the EU, but we're not. And so, I don't know, I mean, Rishi Sunak, no one knows what he thinks about anything to do with it. He's sort of kept his powder dry on absolutely everything, hasn't he? So we don't know.
Well, we'll wait and see. But it may well be some good news coming next week. We'll see what Kwasi Kwarteng has to say. But thank you very much indeed, Lois.
No, you're welcome.
We'll find out whether fracking is getting any closer and whether somebody will make that move and actually